is really a bad idea.
No, it's not.
Or at least she can edit stuff out.
I'm saying it's a bad idea for us to go together.
Oh.
No, that's a great idea because people need to see that. All right, you guys ready?
Yes. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me, my name is Nandi. I am officially a 4th semester pediatric nurse practitioner student, and I attend Emory University. So if you guys know, there is a part 1 to this video. I decided to gather some friends up and shoot a Q&A panel video for you guys. So if you haven't watched part 1, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and pause this video right here, go watch part 1, and then come on back. But part 1 featured an adult gero and a women's health nurse practitioner student, and then part 2 features pediatric and a family nurse practitioner student. So I'm giving you guys lots of flavors, okay? Lots of flavors, and just to get other people's perspective on their experience throughout our program. So go ahead and do that if you haven't already. Watch part 1. That'll be the last time I say watch part 1. Then come back, watch part 2. Let me know what you guys think about everything. Also, do not forget that in the description down below will be a link to my brand, Noire Medical Women. Go ahead and check out the website, and that will give you access to purchase any of the merch that you see in today's video. And then also any of the ladies who are willing to share their social media handles, that will be in the description down below as well. So go ahead and check those out, and let's go ahead and hop into part 2. All right, guys, so we are back with part 2 of this video. So I'm gonna go ahead and let the ladies introduce themselves. Just state like your name, your age, and then where you're from. All right, I'll start. My name is Ahtyanna Kendrick. I am 29 years old, and I'm from Albany, Georgia.
And my name is Mekayla Kurt. I'm also 29 years old, and I'm from Ellenwood, Georgia.
Perfect. So how did you both know that you were interested in nursing?
You want to start?
Okay, I'll start first. So honestly, I didn't know that I was interested in nursing. Growing up, while I was in undergrad, my goal was to be a pediatrician. I wanted to go to medical school. When I graduated, I had a internship at the Good Samaritan Health Center here in Atlanta, and so that's where I really seen like the field of nursing. That was my first time interacting with nurse practitioners, and so just seeing that experience firsthand showed me the field of nursing and the capabilities. So I applied to nursing school.
All right, and I'll also answer. So I'm kind of like the same. Like nursing, honestly, was not on my radar. In fact, I was telling people like that's like the one thing I don't want to do. I don't want to go into nursing. But I think that also had to do with like I just heard like nurses were often overworked and sometimes underpaid, and then I knew like they worked in the hospital setting mostly, and I was like, I don't want to do that. But also like Ahtyanna, I did the same internship, and that was like the first time I saw like nurse practitioners and like got to experience what they do. And then also just like working afterwards as a medical assistant, just working further with nurse practitioners as well as PAs too. I was like, okay, so this is, you know, how it is. They still kind of practice on their own, and then they just have the doctor above them to like sign off on their work and stuff. So I was like, this could be a good career opportunity.
Love it. And even though your white coat already says it, go ahead and tell everyone what school you attend and then what your specialty is.
All right, so I go to Emory University, Neil Hodgson Woodruff School of Nursing, and my specialty is pediatrics primary care.
And I also go to Emory, and my specialty is family nurse practitioner.
All right. And why did each of you choose to go to Emory?
Ooh, okay. Well, I know I chose to go to Emory like once I started looking up like how to become a nurse practitioner. I saw a lot of the programs wanted you to like take a break in between like your BSN and MSN. So when I came across Emory, I was like, oh, I can just keep going. Like I don't have to stop to work because like I knew I didn't want to work like as a nurse, like bedside nursing. So that really like stood out to me, and then also like the duration of the program I really liked too.
So, for me, Emory was the only nursing school that I applied to.
Don't worry. Look, same back here, same.
I actually heard about the opportunity from Mekayla, and so once I like started telling people that I was applying, everybody was like, "Oh my God, Emory's like the top school. Like it's such a great place. You'll get good connections. Blah blah blah. Great. All that sounds good." Like I said, that was the only place that I applied to. Got in, and so I think what really solidified my decision, I would say, was when I went to Admitted Students Day. That was like literally the first time I probably ever felt welcome as a student. I felt like I was valued, and so just the atmosphere of them welcoming into the university, I think, solidified my decision to go to Emory.
We love that. And why did each of you choose your specialty?
Okay, I chose my specialty because like working in a family practice. That's just what I was used to, like seeing everybody of all ages. And then also like seeing a mix of like the acute illnesses mixed with like the older people and their chronic illnesses. And I really just fell in love with like following their treatment plans or like tweaking different things like, you know, if they're not progressing anymore in their treatment, like how do we like change the medications? And then I liked like following up with the lab work and stuff. So that was like the main thing for me, just having the variety of ages and then also just being able to follow the care over time.
So similar. I've always known that I wanted to work with kids, like ever since I was a kid. It went from like being a teacher, like at some point kids were always involved. So I always knew that I had a passion for working with the youth, working with the younger populations in the community, in whatever sense that was. But like being a nurse practitioner, pediatric primary care kind of combined all of my passions, like science, medicine, children, and education. With the primary versus acute, you're able to see your patients grow. You're able to see them come in monthly, yearly. So you're able to educate them as well. And I feel like kids are also very receptive of the things that we teach them. We can catch them before they get set in their ways as adults. So a lot of preventative medicine there. And so it pretty much just combined all of my passions into one solid career choice. That makes sense.
Beautiful answers. Beautiful. So you both talked about this a little bit, but what experience did you have like in medicine or working in the medical field prior to starting this program?
So I'll start. As with any person that's going into any type of medical field, I did a lot of shadowing before going to college, while in college, after college. And then I did a medical assistant internship where pretty much they train you to be a medical assistant, hands-on at the Good Samaritan Health Center. So I did that for about 10 months. And from that point, I was hired full-time as a medical assistant. So in that role, I worked with the pediatrician. So I only pretty much did pediatrics for the main part. And I was an MA there for like 4.5-ish years before starting nursing school. And I actually still like go in sometimes, like PRN if they need extra help, just to stay sharp on my skills.
Good.
Right. And I also did some shadowing. I didn't do a lot of shadowing. I did like, I think one program, it might have been like 20 to 40 hours of shadowing. But then I also did the same internship program at the Good Samaritan Health Center. I think I only stayed maybe 9 months-ish. And then I stopped to work as a pharmacy technician. I can't remember how long I did it for.
Okay.
Maybe close to a year. And then I knew I didn't want to like work in the pharmacy. That was just like I needed money, I needed a job.
Right.
So like literally like every night when I would come home from work, I would be like on Indeed looking for medical assistant jobs, and then I found one. So I worked there for a little while, and then I ended up working somewhere else because they paid more.
Okay.
And it was overall a better like facility anyway. Plus a doctor that I had been working for, he had went to the same facility. So it's kind of like I was following him in
Okay.
a sense. But that's my experiences.
Nice. So everyone here, well, including myself, so each of us did the accelerated dual BSN to MSN program, right? So if you had to choose all over, would you still stick with the accelerated or do the regular route, and why?
Off rip, accelerated. Number one, I think I'm just the type of person who just likes to go ahead and get it done. It really didn't bother me about not having breaks. And another thing, I'm 29. I feel like I need to go ahead and get out there and get in my career field, get a job. So yes, hands down, I would definitely do accelerated.
Okay.
Yes, it just fit my lifestyle.
Same.
Mekayla.
Accelerated. Just because, like, you know, at first, like, we were trying to go the med school route, and then I know I did like one cycle of like PA school applications, and it's like, okay, I'm taking these classes, like I'm working. It's like time is literally just like flying by. I'm like, I gotta get into a program like now, like today. So to go ahead and like finish it, so I could, you know, start working. That was like my main goal with finding a program too.
Right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So we talked about some pros, but like in general, what would you say are like just some additional pros and cons to doing an accelerated program?
Well, I kind of touched on this with the previous question, but I mean, for some it could be a con, for some it couldn't, but we don't have any breaks for real.
Right.
So it's like literally school year round for 2.5 years. So
Because we have classes in the summertime, just to
Yes.
clarify for people
Yes.
watching. Yeah.
So in between semesters, you may have like a week or two to kind of wind down, but that could be a con if you're the type of person that needs time to like, okay, I need to sit back and think about the things that happened this semester before the next one, because that time just isn't granted in the program.
Yeah, I agree, because I feel like going straight through is like you don't get too much of a break to where you forget how to study again, or you know. So I like that it's compacted. It could be stressful at times, but at the same time, I would rather go ahead and get it over with, because I've talked to like other people who haven't been in school in a while, and they're like, yeah, this is like a complete like different thing to have to get used to again. So
You have to like retrain yourself.
Yeah, it's like, dang, I have to sit down and study now. Like, how do I incorporate that into my daily life, especially if you're working?
Right.
I'm not working, but for my friends that I talk to, like, they've had problems with that. So
Okay. All right. What would you say has been your hardest course so far in your program, and what would you say was your easiest?
do you want to
And why?
Okay, so I would say one of my hardest classes was during the BSN portion, maternity health. I can't remember the title of it.
Yeah, maternity.
Maternal health. That class was about to take me out, like, because like we were in maternity and going to the maternity clinical at the same time. And what tripped me up was what they were teaching us in class, and what the book said was not actually what was going on in practice.
Right.
So when it came to take the test, I was answering based off of what I seen in practice, what I seen worked, and that technically wasn't the correct answer for the test. So that disconnect there kind of tripped me up in that class.
And maternity is about to take a lot of people out.
It
Just to
really
clarify,
is.
I know a lot of people that struggle. And the thing is, it's not even just at Emory. Like, I've talked to other students too who like had a real challenging time with that course. So I feel like it's kind of across the board, and also like who's teaching and things like that. So yeah, I
And
agree. That
especially
was a hard
birth
one.
stories aren't like a one size fit all type of thing. So what the book says may work for a patient may not be the best fit for the patient in real life. So that disconnect was something to work through.
All right, Mekayla, what was your hardest?
I would say my hardest class was pharmacology. Honestly, in the BSN and in the MSN, just because like they wanted us, well, for the BSN specifically, it's like, okay, you gotta know, like, what is it, mechanism of action. And like all this stuff. So I have like all these flashcards I made. I'm trying to like figure out, mnemonics. Like when we were studying together, we would literally make up our own mnemonics.
Yes.
Like try
Crazy.
to highlight stuff that overlaps with different drugs. It was very overwhelming, and I feel like, especially towards the end of that semester, we were like, yeah, we don't want to do this no more. Like, all the motivation was gone.
Out the window.
We were, like, freestyling. So, that was my hardest course.
Okay. How about easiest for you both?
I would say, for me, it would probably be our pediatric class from last semester.
Okay.
What was the name of it, Andy?
That was our... I don't even know. Because I think a lot of stuff is like 1 and 2.
Okay,
so it'd be like
so maybe that was
continuations.
the second one since it was second semester.
I think so.
Okay, so I just say that class was the easiest because kind of opposite of the previous answer. The things that we were learning, we were seeing in practice. And so like we learned in class, like, what is an ear infection? What does an ear infection look like? How to treat it? And it really did correlate to what we would see in clinical. Like the tympanic membrane looks like this. You give them this. The dosing is the same. Like, so I felt like that was like a clicking point for me, and so that's why I probably say it's the easiest. And
we dealt with like all acute like conditions and stuff last semester, and this semester for us was like more chronic. Okay.
So that was a good one.
And for me, was that y'all's like seminar classes?
Oh, that was just our regular like specialty course.
So for me, my seminar classes were the easiest. Just because like the quizzes we had, they were pretty straightforward. Like I almost got the hang of like what to look for. I'm like, okay, if there's gonna be abbreviations, I need to look at the abbreviations because they're probably gonna ask like, or not abbreviations, but what is it, acronyms? Yeah, I'm like, okay, I need to look at this because they're going to ask, like, what does the E and this, mean? Or if there's, like, a research study or something, I'd be like, okay, let me look at that. What was it over? What were the results? So it just became very more simple to catch on to.
Okay.
But I also like the lectures, like learning about lifestyle medicine and all the pillars. That was kind of interesting to me. So, yeah.
Love it. So, yeah, I already mentioned this. So we all did the dual, the BSN and the MSN. So if you had to choose, which would you say was harder or degree was harder to obtain, like your BSN or your MSN, and why?
So I can start. I would say that the MSN was harder, and not even necessarily like as far as content, but it's like in the MSN program, like this is the stuff that we really, really, really need to know, because these are the diagnoses, the illnesses, the treatment plans that we're gonna have to use like for the rest of our career,
like on a daily.
Yes. So it's like it's more pressure on myself to really get it down pat and really know what I'm talking about. Also in the MSN, you have to make that switch from being a nurse, BSN, to MSN. Like you have to switch your mindset to the fact that you're the end all be all. Nobody's gonna come behind you and check on your patient to see if you did it right once you start working. So just switching that mindset from like assistant to provider, that had to happen during this portion. So I just feel like it was more things to take into consideration outside of just learning materials and treatment plans to consider for this portion.
Makes sense. And for me, I thought that the BSN was the hardest, just because it was like my first time seeing like nursing style questions. So it's like that was also kind of like change your way of thinking.
Not
like,
select all that applies.
I was like, why? Who thought of this?
And why is it so many?
Right. And then it's like every test, they tried to make it, like the NCLEX, so there's gonna be select all that apply. So it's like, okay, even though I know these two answers are right, the third one I might pick might be one. It might not be one.
Just
so that was a struggle for me. And then they had like a lot of like, I call them like filler or like fluff classes. And I just feel like there was always so many deadlines. Like there's like little assignments due all the time.
It was a
And
lot
I'm
of
like,
busy work in the BSN,
yes,
I feel like.
projects.
And group work. And I hate group work.
Group projects, group presentations,
Yes.
working on worksheets together as a group.
It was
like,
too much.
It was a lot.
Yeah,
it was
especially
a lot.
for like the research type classes. I'm like, I
Research,
do not like
leadership.
research. Like,
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It is crazy because
stressful.
this is part 2 now, so like I can enter more of like what I want to say. But Ahtyanna was literally the only person on this panel so far that has said the MSN. And I also feel like the MSN was harder.
okay.
I feel like the BSN was a lot of busy work,
Yeah.
a lot of group work and all that other stuff, but I feel like you can like get through it. I think the
Yeah.
MSN, what made it so
Yeah.
hard for me was like clinicals. Like the fact that like the BSN, we would go once our little 12-hour shift, and the MSN, I'm like, baby, I miss that.
Yeah.
Because this whole going every day,
Every
three
day,
times
yeah.
a week, like I feel like I'm literally working, okay,
Yeah.
part-time to full-time
For free.
sometimes.
yeah.
Plus
Okay.
going to school, plus I don't know. I just feel like it's more stressful. But then also I feel like pediatrics. I feel like as a whole, as a specialty, I think is a lot more challenging than I would have like. Not that I felt like it would have been easy, but I feel like it's kind of like underrated about how like challenging it was going to be because our classes are no joke. Like, and I have at least one friend from every specialty, and our classes are no joke. Like even they like if they help us with stuff, it's like it's no joke. It's a totally different ball game, but so it's interesting to hear everybody's perspective for sure. But anywho, back to the guests. So how has your clinical experiences been? Like going to different sites, because we know we go to like different sites each semester, and just like interacting with like different nurses and doctors at every site. Like how would you say overall your experiences have been so far?
So I'm just going to start off by saying shout out to Emory for picking our clinical sites for us, getting us in line with them, because I have heard horror stories of students trying to secure spots on their own. I've actually had people like to reach out to me like on Facebook and stuff like, hey, is your job taking students? And I'm like, I don't know. But so I feel like the process of getting clinical placements have been good. My commutes haven't been really far. Like the max I've having to drive is like 45 minutes. But I also do live like kind of far out. So I feel like my clinical experiences have been really good. I think I've kind of looked up. I've only like run into one patient that may have like been a little but I feel like all of the parents, all of the patients, all of the staff have been like really receptive of me as a student. They know that this is a part of my education, something I need to do. So they've all been very welcoming, and at some point, they're challenging us, asking us questions, which is always really good at times, just to kind of see what we know, see where we're at, so they can know like how to further help us that semester that we're assigned to them. So I feel like I've had a good clinical experience thus far.
Good.
Yeah.
Mekayla?
So I'm in the VA program at Emory, so all my clinicals are like at the different VA clinics in the Atlanta area. So my commute also hasn't really been far. Like my furthest place was Lawrenceville, was just like 25 minutes. So it's still fairly close.
Yeah.
But working with the veteran population has been very good. Like it's like I didn't know what to expect at first, but everyone is like pretty respectful. I really haven't had any like trouble patients. If they're ever upset about anything, it's like they don't direct, or they haven't directed their anger like at me. It's more so about the situation or about like how things operate at times. I've also had really good preceptors. Like my first preceptor, it's like I heard a lot about her, like, oh, she's really tough to work with and all this stuff. And I get with her and I'm like, I don't see what y'all talking about. Like, I don't see it. Like, okay, yeah, she threw me into things like day one, but I really appreciated it because this is something like that I'm going to need to do. So she literally told me, like, I want you to start seeing patients. Like, I want you to build up your confidence. I want you to be comfortable with seeing them. So that was really great, like, for my clinical experiences so far. And then my last rotation, was mental health, and that was also pretty good because the preceptors, they were very like, they educated you on a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were like mini lectures that we had, like we went over like the common drugs in like mental health. So it wasn't like I wasn't getting an education out of it.
You're learning at the same time.
Yeah. And I can like kind of put things together, like, okay, we just went over these drugs and my patient's taking this, and thinking about like side effects, just putting together the whole picture.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's
That was
good
nice.
to have that experience, because I feel like mental health clinicals people are afraid of. And then sometimes even like experiences like working at the VA, sometimes people are afraid of that. Not necessarily because like they've gone through it personally, but just because like things that they may hear. So it's definitely good to like, you know, have you on the panel and hear like a positive experience about both of those like clinical rotations. So that's cool. All right. And so what are some things like both of you wish you knew prior to starting this program?
I can say one quick little tidbit. So I did work full-time before starting nursing school, and I kind of had a lot of free time, I guess. But one thing that I wish I would have known was like the financial aspect of transitioning from like working full-time to not working. I wish like I would have applied to more external scholarships, just to have that to the side. I wish I would have saved more. Like, I saved, but nothing prepares you for making that switch from working full time and having it when you want it versus working PRN.
Right.
So just the financial aspects of being a student again is kind of like a shocker. So I would have liked some more advice on the financial aspects, scholarships, savings, that type of thing.
And for me, I think I wish I would have known how to manage my time better. Like,
that's real.
I feel like I'm learning like along the way, but I'm like, man, like, could I have somehow planned out like a different schedule or something? Because especially with having clinicals and classes, it has been hard. Like, when you got tests within the same week and you got to go to clinicals, even just making like your clinical schedule around your class schedule, like that was difficult. I wish someone would have like just gave me a heads up, like, hey, this is what you should expect, you know? Cause,
and that's really real. And like, just so people like know, because I feel like I mentioned it in previous vlogs, but like we literally go to clinical and have classes at the same time. Because I don't know if you two know this, but like even I don't know for PA school, but like some medical schools it's separate. Like they do their clinical separate from their classes, but we do both at the same time. So like what Mekayla is saying is totally relatable for us because it's a lot.
I think I met like a nursing student who went to maybe Auburn or something, who was doing clinicals, and she said theirs was like that. Like it was separated. It was for the BSN program when we were doing our road transitions.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So she literally only had clinical to focus on.
Yeah. So it's different.
And it was like, a short period of time too.
Right. So it's definitely different depending upon what school you go to. So that's also important to like mention for people watching. All right. Next question, and I'm just laughing because I'm gonna make a side comment about what Ahtyanna said when I first met her. How do you balance it all? Classes, clinicals, work, homework, social life. Let me tell y'all something. When I first met Ahtyanna in the flesh, that girl looked at me. She said, "I'm gonna put me first."
Look, let me tell you, I put me first, man, because at the end of the day, these schools gonna keep getting that tuition money with or without you.
I know that's right.
That's true.
So
that's real.
How do I balance it? I don't know.
I thought you were gonna say I don't. Look, me neither.
I just, if you look at it like a balance, like the different components of your life, like, okay, I gotta study because I got school, you know, assignments, all that stuff going to the same bucket. Then I got my personal life for me. Cool. Then I got family, friends, you know, that type of thing. And then like, you know, miscellaneous. So it's just, it goes like week to week. Like, what am I going to pour more into this week?
Yeah.
Based on what you got going on that week. But like I said, I gotta put me first, man. I never prioritize anything else more than what I need personally at that time. And I think that's the key. And if you're gonna make it through and keep your sanity at the same time.
Right.
So yes, you got school, you gotta study. It's certain stuff you gotta know, but can I learn it tomorrow and keep my sanity? Yeah, okay, cool. I'm learning tomorrow.
Can I still go get my nails done and study when I get back?
I'm gonna go get these lashes done today, and I'll do that tomorrow. So, yeah.
No, that's so funny. That's true. How about you, Mekayla?
I also agree, especially when you said like take it week by week. I know, like for me personally, I usually go like see my family on the weekend or try to see them on the weekend. Because they don't live that far away. And then I also try to dedicate like some of my weekend time to just like doing nothing school related. Like, okay, can I study like how you said on one day, and then just take a break, because like your mental health is important. Right. And I get stressed out easily sometimes. Like,
me too.
Even I was talking to one of my other classmates, and she was like, "Yeah, I've never had anxiety until I got to this program." I was like, "Girl, I'd be freaking out." Like, me too.
That's true.
So even if you gotta take it day by day, like you gotta do whatever works for you. Like just going to get coffee sometimes makes me so happy, and it's needed. It's necessary. So just figure out, your
It's
flow.
the little things.
Yes.
And also like the work-life balance that you establish now transfers to like when you get into your career. So you have to start learning now, like setting boundaries for certain things. Like
you better preach.
When I walk out that door, I'm out that door, and work is not gonna come home. And when I'm done with school, I'm done with school. I gotta use some time for me. So just having a balance.
Perfect. Yeah. So what are some life lessons you learned while in this program?
I think for me, I learned just to trust myself. Like, especially when it comes to just tests or like clinicals, you often second guess yourself. Like, even if your preceptor is asking, okay, what do you think is next in the treatment plan, or what do you want to do, or what do you think the diagnosis is?
Right.
Go with your first answer always, because 9 times out of 10, right, stick and pick. The same thing they taught us for the NCLEX. Like, just know, like, you are intelligent, okay? You learned some stuff in school, so just go with whatever you think. And then also just remembering it is a learning experience for now. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Like, go ahead and get everything out that you want to ask so that you can know moving forward, and don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Right.
What was the question again?
Yeah,
just like
I think I went up on a tangent.
Just like overall, like life lessons or lessons you feel like you've learned while in the program.
I think I've learned new limits for myself. Like the limits that you think you have set on yourself. Nursing school has taught me you can go a little harder. Like, oh, I need to be in the bed by 11. Like, what if I stay up and study till 12? Like that one extra hour. Like just pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone in every aspect. I'm somewhat of an introvert, believe it or not.
I'm crying.
No shit.
And so just like being in this field, talking to people all the time has really pushed that limit for me. Like just being comfortable talking to other people, like sharing what you know out loud. Yeah. That's kind of a challenge. Like you know it, but it's like, oh, I really have to like teach it to somebody else. So just like pushing yourself past your limits, like don't put yourself in a box and say this is what I'm capable of. Just know that you're always capable of more.
Period. All right. So obviously we already said we go to Emory. Most people, if you're not familiar with Emory, it is a PWI. So as Black women, like how do you feel like your experience has been going through a rigorous program at a PWI? Do you feel like you've had any obstacles, any challenges that you've had to overcome? And if so, how did you overcome it?
So I'll jump first because my answer kind of popped in my head. But me and Mekayla, like for our first undergraduate degree, we went to the University of Georgia. a degree in biology. So, like, the PWI institution is not, like, new to us.
It's not new.
So, however, I can say that going from UGA to Emory has been a huge shift. Some people may not be used to the setting, like what Emory provides. However, for us, well, for me, I know for sure, coming from UGA, yes, it's a PWI. However, at that institution, it can be a class from 300 people, easy.
It's
You
a big
can,
school.
yeah, you can never interact with your professors. Your professors can never know your name, never know your face. So coming to Emory, where it's probably with maybe 16 people in our cohort now.
In our specialties, like
Yes.
16.
Well, yeah, especially not a cohort. And the teachers know our name. The teachers know our face. The teachers know what you have going on in your personal life. Has been a huge plus for me because I've never experienced like a professor asking me like, so, you know, how's your family? Like, because this summer, like, my granddad passed away, and, like, professors were, like, following up with me, like, how's your family? How are you doing? Do you need anything? And I was like, what?
It's different over here.
Yes. For me, it has been a positive experience, although we are Black women. I feel like I personally have gotten a lot of support. Like I said before, like one of the reasons that I chose Emory was because I felt welcome, I felt heard. Throughout the time that we've been here, if our cohort has had an issue with something, they say it. And 9 times out of 10, the change is made like within the time where you can see results. So that's just my outlook on it.
That was my exact answer.
I'm crying.
Like, legit.
And y'all, they real life friends. So like they went to college together and they
That was
transitioned.
seriously my same answer.
Went to Emory together. So
We studied together.
study together. Kind of like each other, you know.
Whatever.
All right.
But yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, so both of you can answer this one.
Okay.
So why do you think it's important to have Black women in the field of medicine?
Ooh, I can start.
Okay.
So, off rip, I feel like Black women are very strong individuals. So, just them coming to be seen for like doctors, office appointments, and things like that, it's like they may not tell you everything that's going on with them just because they play so many roles like in their personal lives. So I think that having Black women in the field of medicine kind of creates more comfort for them to open up and share. And then because we also are like educated on the common illnesses, you know, that may be more prevalent in Black women or in the Black community overall, we know what interview questions to ask. So that's what I be thinking, like we can relate more to them. And then they feel more comfortable. Like I've even had patients that will straight up say like, oh, I want to see a Black provider. Or even if we refer them out somewhere, they're like, is the person Black? Especially when it comes to mental health too. Like in the Black community, mental health is like not discussed a lot. So I feel like they can open up more as well. Like if we're asking these mental health related questions, they just feel more comfortable sharing certain things and not being ashamed of it. That's what I think.
Love it.
Same thing. Just representation matters. I've had patients where I went in to see, of course, pediatric patients, and like literally their parents' face brightens up when they see me walk in the room. It's like, oh, like you see her, you need to be taking notes, like this can be you type deal. And it's been plenty of times where I was like leaving out of the room, I'm done with my assessment, didn't talk to the patient, and the parents will like literally stop me like, hey, congratulations, I'm so proud of you. Like that has happened a lot of times, and I'm like, oh, okay, thanks, gotta go. But, just the fact that representation matters. I told Kayla a long time ago, like when we were taking mental health, I was like, I need to come up with me a birth plan now. I know I'm not about to have kids like in the next year, 2 years, whatever the case may be. But the whole mental maternal death thing really was a huge shocker to me. So just representation and having that face that looks like your face, that has that knowledge base to help you out, I think goes a long way, especially in pediatrics. The parents, they know stuff, but they feel comfortable when they have somebody else that looks like them who knows the things that they don't know, and you can just kind of brainstorm it and come up with the plan together. So
right,
that makes sense. And I think also like with the dermatology stuff, how we kind of learn like how different things look on darker skin.
Yeah,
I feel like sometimes
and that's not taught in school, ladies and gents. That's not always taught in school.
It's not always in the
a lot of
textbooks.
stuff gets overlooked.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
We need us. All right.
That's true.
So what are your future plans, goals you have for yourself? Like, where do you want to work? Like, where do you see yourself, like, after graduation and stuff?
So after graduation, I do want to start off working in the Atlanta area. Like I said at the beginning, I was born and raised in Albany, Georgia, which is like Southwest Georgia. So, and before coming to nursing school, I worked with like underserved, underinsured, minority populations. So I feel like that has always been like close and near and dear to my heart. So if possible, that's the plan. I want to work with like underserved, underinsured, or uninsured populations throughout the Atlanta area.
Beautiful. Mekayla?
Okay, also starting off, I do want to work in the Atlanta area too, in primary care, because a lot of people always ask me like, oh, you want to do primary care? Like, you sure? And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, absolutely. Just because I feel like that's where I'm needed the most.
Right.
People sometimes stray away from wanting to work in primary care because they know how crazy it can get, but I feel like for me and my purpose, I need to be put where I'm needed. So I also would like to work in like the underserved areas, or areas where there might be like a shortage of employees to start off. I don't know where life may take me after that though, but
Do you want to work with the VA?
I don't know, like
Bring it back.
like, so I really did like enjoy my experience, my clinical experience at the VA, and I feel like that's definitely a place where providers are needed.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of veterans, and that's one thing I kind of learned too. Like, I didn't realize how many veterans were, around the Atlanta area and all the different clinics.
It's a lot,
and stuff, but it's necessary because they have a lot of chronic illnesses and they need people who are going to be able to properly follow them and treat them,
right,
and not overlook their concerns, or they're not a number,
right.
So I think they definitely need the help. I would consider it for sure. But I just want to keep an open mind because I don't know where life goes.
Yeah. And I feel like that's most important. Like, as long as you're open, always willing to learn. Because I feel like even once we become providers, we're always still going to be learning and still being a student in that aspect.
True.
So, we'll see where life goes.
You never know.
All right. Last question, ladies. So just any overall advice you have for any of the students watching or anyone who may be interested in becoming a nurse practitioner?
Well, for nursing school in general, I could give you a piece of advice. Get a planner. Get a planner. Work on your time management.
Yes.
Put yourself as a priority, of course. However, beginning of every semester, get you a planner. Write out all your assignments. That way you know what kind of free time you're working with.
Right.
That'll greatly help prevent any time management slip-ups down the line. But planning is a huge aspect of, I would say, nursing school.
Planning and organization, baby, is key.
Yes.
All right, Mekayla.
I think my piece of advice would be don't compare yourself to others. And that's even down to how people study,
Yeah.
like the way people study, it may not work for you.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to like try different avenues or to just ask around. Like even if you need help, like ask teachers because they can sometimes give you some tips too. But that's my biggest thing. Like don't feel like you're not doing enough or you're doing too much. I mean, even though like Ahtyanna said earlier, you can push yourself a little further, but like
don't kill yourself.
Don't kill yourself. Please, like, do not have mental breakdowns. Do not go into like a deep depression over school. Like, figure out what you need to do. Also, like you said earlier, to keep your sanity. That's like number one.
And also, I would say take advantage of like networking with classmates and studying with classmates because a lot of people who go into nursing school probably like are in the work field already, have an established set of friends, but just be open to talking to your classmates. And
they be sharing some good resources.
Because,
so please,
these
friends.
are going to be your colleagues. So just go ahead and then starting that network of people you can call on once you actually get out in the field is a good thing to keep in the back of your head.
Beautiful. Well, that is a wrap. Thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll say bye.
Well, you guys, that wraps up part 2 of this video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this content. Hopefully you were able to just garner a lot of knowledge and insight from these ladies today. Thank you again, ladies, for being willing to be a part of this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.